Hey, this is Notser, and 7.7 is coming out tomorrow. And with 7.7, we're getting the Go Navy event, Sharks versus Eagles. Whatever team you decide to participate for, you'll be able to generate resources. Those resources you can then invest in premium camo, containers, that sort of thing. I don't know how quick it's going to be to gain this resource, and you're not locked into the team. You just get loyalty points if you continue to follow a team, but you can always switch to the other side if you feel like, Eagles are cooler than Sharks or Sharks are cooler than Eagles. Operation Raptor Rescue and Operation Nari are reintroduced with definitely a more challenging version of these operations than you maybe previously are familiar with, so just keep that in mind. Also, the Arsenal's getting a little bit of an update clarification, and it's interesting because what they have basically confirmed is how the reward categories exist. So there's a coupon that is generated, and in my previous video on the Arsenal, I theorized that it's, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Well, they said straight up, you will get 1 coupon for ships every 6 updates, 1 coupon for ship module upgrades every update, and then 2 coupons per update for the signal flags. I'm not surprised on the signal flags because they're really expensive. They're probably way more expensive than they honestly should be in the value they give, but whatever. Camouflage, you do get 2 coupons per update. So if you really want to make full use of these coupons, and I definitely want to, just track it. The module update always gives you 1 upgrade for your module per update. So just keep that in mind. But the real thing that is important is all the balance changes that will actually be placed in the game. First balance change that is a major adjustment is that every single 100mm HE shell for the Japanese is getting their penetration increased from 17 millimeters to 25 base. This is going to influence the Akizuki main gun, the Kitakaze main gun, the Hiragumu main gun, the Harikaze, that extra, what is it, the B variant for the Harikaze, the one that you can swap in and use your Akizuki. That's going to be changed. The secondary battery of the Ibuki, the Zao, the Ki, the Taiho, and the Hakuru, those are all getting improved penetration now. Would you want to invest into a full secondary build for those? Well, probably not. I might check it out just to screw around, but I wouldn't recommend it for you. And if you couple this penetration buff with inertia fuse high explosive, you can cross that 32mm threshold that allows you to do full damage to battleships, bow and stern. With this buff to the 100mm shell, Akizuki is getting nerfed. Its performance is just going to be more sluggish. Turning, rudder response, detectability, all that stuff is getting nerfed. I don't know if it's a significant nerf to make you not want to play it after the 100mm, but I'll obviously test it and share it. The Izumo is getting concealment buff. It's getting a deck armor improvement, so HE shells are going to shatter on the top of this deck. And with all that considered, maybe the Izumo will play a little bit better. That is a pretty nice, sizable concealment improvement. I don't know exactly where that's going to place it, but it's going from one of the worst concealed battleships in the game to competitive with other battleships in concealment. Yamato's turret traverse is getting improved from 2.5 to 3 degrees per second. Obviously, that's a big improvement that'll allow you to use that legendary module without any penalty at all. And if you don't choose to use it, well, it's just going to perform more comfortably. Ashitaka's getting a buff. Kawachi's getting a buff. Miyogi's getting its buff. Unfortunately, it looks like the Alsace is going to be nerfed. Both changes are going in. The reload's going from 30 seconds to 32 seconds, and the Sigma parameter is going from 1.7 to 1.6. So it's not what I wanted. It's not what many of you wanted. Alsace is I will be curious to see how the Alsace performs after this change. I'm not really thrilled with this reload change. It's gonna be frustrating. The Emile Bertin, they're also getting its nerf. The reload's going from 12 to 13. Torpedoes are obviously changing. The cruiser Leander and Emerald are getting 7-kilometer range torpedoes instead of 6, which is nice. Emerald's also getting a concealment buff, and the obviously concealment of the guns while firing in smoke are getting improved. Gnevny and Minsk, faster turret traverse. The Podvoisky, faster turret traverse. These are Soviet destroyers that generally you needed expert marksmen just to make them feel comfortable. It's a nice buff to them. I don't know how much it actually means, though. The main battery reload of the Podvoisky is improved a little bit. 102mm gun. The main gun turret traverse of the early tier Soviet destroyers is getting improved as well. So, quality of life improvement for the Soviets. You'll be able to research the 130mm from the Khabarovsk and stick it on the Tashkent. That should see the Tashkent improve slightly. I don't know how much it'll actually mean in raw damage output. Chapayev will be able to equip the surveillance radar on A hull as well as B. It's kind of a weird quirk right now with it, but it's getting fixed. And then the 127mm AP shells of the American and Pan-Asian ships is getting improved fuse time. So it should be able to be used against DDs, theoretically, that are larger than average. U.S. battleship Carolina, improved Sigma. The German battleship Nassau's getting nerfed. So, that's great. I don't know why the Nassau needed a nerf. Whatever. They're fixing a couple issues with the way Sigma works for the Seattle and Buffalo. It now equals 2.05 instead of 2, so they did go ahead with that change. The Baltimore is also getting an adjustment from 2.05 to 2. So we'll see how much that actually changes the way she performs. You'll be able to focus on your resource gathering in 7.7. You can select more resources, and this will give you, coal and stuff like that, if you so desire. It's just a new container slot that you can select. Ship doubloons. So they're adding in some permanent camo that looks pretty American. And this permanent camo is going to be for the light cruisers. And it looks pretty cool, no issue with it at all. It's incredibly loud, but that's to be expected. You'll be able to turn this stuff off if you don't want it displayed on your screen. And then finally, you will be able to potentially run into some new ships. The British destroyer line will be tested by super testers and developers alike. That's code for CCs as well. We've got the French battleship Jean Bart and, of course, that German battleship Friedrich. Those will also be tested. And then with Jean Bart, you're going to get a potential chance of running into this new consumable that has the quicker main battery reload. So just keep that in mind. If you run into something like the Jean Bart, it will have a consumable where it can basically double its DPS for a 30-second window. So just be careful. It's going to be a little bursty. The battle interface, they're adding that little cursor that indicates where your crosshair exists in the 3D space on the minimap. We'll see. It's just balancing out the mod that's already existed for so many people, and then a bunch of other changes. So they definitely went ahead with all of the nerfs to ships. I'm curious to see how all those ship rebalances adjust their play. Alsace, Izumo, Yamato. I'm also really interested in the 100mm. That's a very big change. I will definitely be releasing videos on that. And also, I'm very curious to see how these new ships play, the British destroyers. I hope you're as excited as I am to see all this new content for 7.7. It's funny because the Go Navy event will be fun, but actually, I'm really happy that Wargaming was so aggressive with adjustments to ships this patch. I would like to see more of that Wargaming. I could definitely stand to see, oh, I don't know, maybe American battleship quality of life improvement, improve their speed slightly from the early to mid tiers. It's kind of frustrating to play, and it really turns people off on the American branch, at least initially. If you look at something like the French battleships, they have ships that have the same top speed as those American battleships, and yet their speed is 3, 4, 5 knots faster base than the American battleships. It just feels a little outdated, the speed. But overall, I really appreciate all the changes, Wargaming. I hope everyone's excited to see the new content. I am as well. I will keep you up to date on all the changed ships, and hopefully at some point in the very near future, I'll be able to show my impressions on the British DDs, Jean Bart, and Idle Friedrich. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.